Welcome to an introduction to advanced care planning. This is a very brief overview based on an excellent presentation developed by Advanced Care Planning Ontario, which is an initiative of Hospice Palliative Care Ontario. Advanced Care Planning Ontario aims to raise awareness about the importance of advanced care planning and provide people with the tools and information to start their own advanced care plan. Now, it's important to point out that this presentation contains a real general overview of the information related to advanced care planning and does not offer or constitute any type of legal advice. While we are going through this presentation, I would like you to consider the following question. Imagine you're in hospital, too ill or hurt to speak for yourself. Do you know who would make health care decisions for you? Well, this is where advanced care planning comes in. Advanced care planning is a lifelong process of thinking about what matters to you, your values, your goals, your preferences, and the care you would like to receive at any stage or age in your adult life. Advanced care planning is also about talking to the people who matter most to you, as well as your healthcare professionals, about what your wishes are. Advanced care planning is about life planning, just like we do financial planning, family planning, career planning, retirement planning. Advanced care planning deserves that same attention. I'm sure most of us have heard about advanced care planning and thought about it, but in Canada, 93% of the Canadians believe it is important to discuss their wishes for care with family and friends. Yet only 17% of us actually have an advanced care plan in place. Why is advanced care planning important? Well, life can change at any moment. The more people who know about your values, your goals, and your wishes, the more they can help you get the care you want. The earlier people have conversations about wishes, the less anxious they are if they experience a health crisis. A few examples of things to discuss might be your goals, your biggest fears and worries, what gives you strength, the abilities you could not live without, and trade-offs you are willing to make. These are just a few examples of things to address. Who should do an advanced care plan? Well, everyone, all of us. Don't wait for an emergency to have these advanced care planning conversations. These conversations should be part of life's milestones. For example, if we get married, we buy a house, we're having children, our living situation changes. All of these changes in life will likely change our advanced care plan. What our vision of the future looks like. Also, if we have changes in relationships or even health events, for example, upcoming surgeries, being diagnosed with an illness, becoming increasingly frail, all of these changes will require a revisiting or initiating that advanced care planning conversation again to keep it up to date so it's in line with your wishes. Imagine your partner or parent has had a stroke and is unable to communicate with their healthcare providers. Would you know what is important to them so that you can make healthcare decisions on their behalf? What we are talking about here is substitute decision making. There may be a time in your life when you will need someone to make healthcare decisions on your behalf, or a time when you will be required to make a healthcare decision for someone else. As we've learned so far, advanced care planning is ongoing. It's a process of reflecting and sharing your wishes and values while you are capable of making your own medical, personal care, and treatment decisions. If there was an event where you had become incapable, this is where your substitute decision maker would be able to make the decisions that best reflect your wishes and values. Confirming your substitute decision maker or substitute decision makers. Do you have a substitute decision maker? Most of us don't realize that we all have a substitute decision maker, whether or not we take legal steps to confirm who it will be. This is based in law, which references the substitute decision maker hierarchy, which we will look at on our next slide. The job of the substitute decision maker is to make choices that reflect the wishes, values, and beliefs of the incapable person. Remember, the substitute decision maker only steps in if you are deemed incapable by the healthcare provider proposing the care. The substitute decision maker hierarchy. If you are deemed incapable to refuse or consent to treatment, by default, your substitute decision maker will be the person or persons highest rank on the hierarchy who meet the criteria to be a substitute decision maker. The Ontario Healthcare Consent Act includes a hierarchy that provides every person in Ontario with an automatic substitute decision maker, even if you've never done a power of attorney for personal care. The person or persons that are highest ranked on this hierarchy and that meet the requirements to act as a substitute decision maker will be appointed as such. A more in-depth detail on this substitute decision-making hierarchy and terms can be found on the Advanced Care Planning Ontario website, and a link to this website will be available at the end of this presentation. Next, if you don't feel that the substitute decision maker identified in this hierarchy is the right individual to act on your behalf, or you would like to designate someone specific to be your substitute decision maker, then you can write a power of attorney for personal care and name that person. This is different from a power of attorney for personal property. Someone who is designated as the POA for property or finances cannot make decisions for your health unless they are also designated as a POA for personal care. If you notice that nowhere on this list is a caregiver, a neighbor, or friend mentioned, the only way they can speak for you, if that's your choice, is if you name them as your POA. Most of us have heard of the power of attorney of personal care, which is the document that you can complete to name the person or people to be your substitute decision makers for healthcare. We do not need a lawyer to get this done, and it's accessible to everyone. That resource will also be listed at the end of this presentation. Let's summarize what we've learned. Advanced care planning conversations are not consent for treatment. As long as you're able to understand and communicate, you will make your own healthcare decisions. Wishes do not need to be in writing. They could be verbal, they could be videotaped, and the most recent wishes prevail. If you do not confirm a substitute decision maker, the hierarchy will determine one for you. You can prepare a power of attorney for personal care if you have someone specific in mind. Advanced care planning is not just a one-time event. Conversations get easier the more you have them. And finally, advanced care planning is not only for those who are nearing their end of their life. Accidents and illnesses can happen at any time, and healthcare decisions will need to be made. Remember, advanced care planning is about living well. This brings us to the end of our presentation. We've only scratched the surface on the topic of advanced care planning and substitute decision making. Please access the Advanced Care Planning Ontario website for a multitude of valuable resources and educational videos. Thank you, and let's make time to have caring conversations.